in our day now where we do something a little bit different. You are here to listen to our short stories. Those of you who are not familiar with what the short stories are, there will be 3 different people who will be invited up here to speak for 4 minutes, and 4 minutes only. And once they go over 4 minutes, some very loud music will start to play, and they will have to walk off the stage in shame. But yeah, so we're going to be listening to 3 interesting stories. One from Jonathan Buckley, who's going to tell us a little bit about his role as a school governor. One from Parenting for Faith, and one about a smart, free childhood. And it's just a way for you to hear some creative ways that people are engaging in ministry, and to perhaps get some ideas of what that might look like or could look like in your context. So I'm aware that I'm actually eating into Jonathan's 4 minutes here, so I'm going to invite Jonathan up to share the first story with us.
5 years ago, March 2020, I had an email from a member of staff at Chaucer School in Parsons Ross asking if I would be interested in becoming a community governor. Because I can't say no, I said yes. And so September 2021, I was sat in my first governors meeting, kind of wondering what on earth am I doing here? And that's how I spent the next 6 months or so, wondering what I was doing at Chaucer School as a governor, until we had an email from Jack, he's the art teacher, saying, we've got some fantastic Year 11 artwork from their GCSE, and we want to showcase it to our wider community. Can we use your church buildings to display our artwork? To which we said yes. And in that moment, I realised 2 things. Firstly, the school had asked me to be a community governor, not a safeguarding one, not a financial one, but a community governor. And secondly, God had asked me to be me. And so that's what I've tried to be over the past 5 years, me. So for me, in that context, whenever I went into school, or go into school, I often take a box of chocolates in staff room. Whenever Ofsted are being in Chaucer, I enabled church leaders and fellow governors to part with their cash and to take in around £50 or £60 worth of chocolate and strawberries and grapes from the staff room. When the RE department again found out that a church member was part of the governing team, they said, John, can we bring our Year 10s down to your church to find out more about what's part of our RE stuff? To which we said, yes. But I also said, how about doing something similar in the city centre? So about 3 years ago, when Billy was just arrived, me and Megan were next door at the URC doing a Q&A, and I have a memory of a Year 11 girl from Chaucer singing Amazing Grace from this place. And we also did go to St Mary's and to the Church of England Cathedral as well, just to be fair. And so that's what we try to do. Being a governor for me has created some amazing doors and opportunities which I never would have had as a schools worker, as a youth worker. And I talked to the head teacher when I was here today, and said, if you're speaking to a group of youth and children's church people, what would you say to encourage them to become a school governor? And this is part of what she said. Having governors like me and John, who are already part of a community, is massively important. And so for schools, having people part of a community as a governor is a real benefit. So I would just encourage everyone here, if you've got a local school, which you all have, I would just encourage you to consider becoming a school governor, and it's created amazing opportunities which we never would have had before. Thank you.
You have 30 seconds to go. Our next short story is from Rachel. It's going to tell us about smartphone free childhood.
I think my presentation is going to be a bit of a push. I'm going to try and battle through it. I'm Rachel, I'm a mum involved in church, youth and children's work, and I'm here to get people thinking about smartphones, young people and church. But first, you've done a lot of listening this morning, it's time for a story. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. Great. Okay, imagine you're a parent of a 9-year-old. A billionaire who you've never met chooses her to join the first permanent human settlement on Earth, on Mars. She'd signed herself up for the mission because she loves space, and besides, all of her friends have signed up. She begs you to let her go. You agree to at least learn more. You learn that they're recruiting children because they will adapt better to the unusual conditions of Mars compared to adults. You then learn about some of the risks. First, there's the radiation, and then there's the low-gravity environment, risking deformities in bones, hearts, eyes, and brains. Did the planners think of this? As far as you can tell, no. So, would you let her go? Definitely not. The risks are unknown. The leaders don't seem to know anything about child development, and they don't seem to care about children's safety. Can we go a couple on? Perfect. Worse still, the company did not require proof of parental permission. No company could ever take our children away and endanger them without our consent, or they would face massive liabilities, right? It seems an outrageous story, but it was told by social psychologist Professor Jonathan Haidt to illustrate the rapid rise of smartphones among children and young people, the unknown impact on kids. It's driven by profit and peer pressure. Parents are not consulted about safeguarding these devices. There's lots of risks that are largely unknown because of how recent smartphone use is, but here are some of the emerging statistics and main concerns. Number 1, smartphones are linked to poorer mental health among teens. Number 2, smartphones expose kids to things they can't unsee. 3, smartphones reduce the amount of time kids can connect with each other in real life. And 4, smartphones provide kids access to inappropriate content. Parents can feel a bit like this. They want their kids to fit in, but they're worried about safety around smartphones. This includes the church context, in youth groups, youth residentials. Churches are working so hard on safeguarding, but unrestricted, child-led smartphone use seems like an own goal. What will they access? Who's keeping them safe? Will what they see be age appropriate? The Smartphone-Free Childhood movement aims to kickstart conversations about smartphones. It gives parents and those working with children information and resources. Let's get talking about it in our churches too, because as churches, we seek to protect the vulnerable. We've got lots of ranges of ages and lots of vulnerable people. What might they be exposed to? To stand up against injustice. Who's making decisions about what our children consume? We seek to find fellowship and connection. The presence of phones can shut down opportunity for interaction. So let's open up conversations about smartphones in our churches and youth groups and kids groups. So let's find out more about smartphone-free childhood. Perhaps you could think about making your youth group phone-free. You could look at the impact phones have on your setting. Find out more. Wait a minute.
I'm so sorry, that was it, wasn't it? You were there. Thank you so much. But yeah, do ask if you have any more questions about that. Thank you. We're on to our third and final short story of the afternoon. So this is Emily from Parenting for Faith.
Hi, so I've been asked to talk about two things, so I'll try and do 2-ish minutes on each. Parenting Faith and also linking toddler groups with wider church. So my name's Emily and I work at Wadsley Church and the children's worker there. So firstly, Parenting for Faith, it's an organisation that aim is to equip the people at home to be discipling their kids in the rest of the week that isn't perhaps the hour on a Sunday where we might get to chat and share with the kids. There are loads of different things that we've run our church and that they have that we found really helpful. So they offer a few different courses. We've run the standard course, which is kind of aimed at parents of primary school children. I say parents, and it's called Parenting for Faith, but it's not. It's whoever is having input into their lives. We've had godparents who've come on the courses before because they really want to invest in their godchildren. It can be grandparents, whoever. There's also one that's aimed specifically at toddler age. There's a teenage one. I haven't done that because teenagers are scary. And they've just started one that is particularly for grandparents, acknowledging their influence on kids and young people. So we've done 2 of those at our church a couple of times. And the best thing I think for me has been the community that is built in those small groups. People who've been able to share their experiences, and they've got children of different ages, the conversations, but also for me as a children's worker, Sunday mornings are always mega busy. You don't actually get a chance often to talk with the people at home, and so giving a bit of space for them to ask their questions and to build relationships with whoever's at home and not only with the children, because it's doing it all together. And find out what people actually want. So out of that, we found that there were quite a few families who were like, oh, actually we don't have any kids' Christian books at home. And so we started a library at our church so that people could borrow them and also can have a look and see what's out there, because sadly there isn't a Christian bookshop in Sheffield, or certainly not in the way that there used to be. So getting your hands on books and being able to see what they're like before you decide is really helpful. They also have, they call them 5 key tools, but the one that I really wanted to mention is they talk about something called Chat Catch, and it's equipping children but also everybody to hear God's voice, to speak to Him and to hear from Him. And we've used that in our children's groups, we've used that in our services where everyone's together, and we've had some really beautiful moments kind of following how they help you to explain that in a really simple way, where people of all ages have felt God's presence and heard His voice and then shared that with the whole church. And then this is where it's going to hopefully link into toddlers. They also make these brilliant postcards. You can download them for free on the Parenting for Faith website, and they're really helpful. There's one about starting school, there's one about answering questions and helping under fires, there's various ones. But one of the things that we've done to help link our toddlers with the wider church that we started doing is we gave all of the toddlers who were aging out of the toddler group and starting school a book, a postcard with all of the things that happen in church for young people and their families, and one of these little postcards that helps you prepare for starting week school. Some of the other things that we've done with our toddler group to build community there and also link them in with the wider church. Often they stop in the summer and we have some picnics over the summer to keep that going. We make sure we always do notes about what else is happening in church and invite them along, but also invite your grannies and granddads who maybe don't even have kids to come along to be there and be part of the team, because they're the people that have the chance to sit down and chat to the grown-ups. And that's been really beneficial for us for finding out how we can be praying for other people. Thank you to Jonathan and Rachel.